Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Logan.
Welcome to the Rangers Journey.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Rangers Journal on this, the 6th of November. Thursday nights are Europa League nights, and we are back in the competition again, facing AS Roma. Our first time competitively facing Roma, so an exciting night to play one of one of Italy's sort of romantic clubs, I think. And I think, is the lineup? Perfect timing. I love it when they do that. While I look at that, I'll introduce my co-host tonight. Billy, how are you doing this evening?
I'm okay, mate. I've said it a couple of times in the pod, I was hoping this was an away match because I would have loved to have gone to the Olympic Stadium. I've been there one time, but it was a Lazio game. But my, not allegiances, but I'm more fond of Roma than Lazio. So I'd like to have seen them in the home stadium. But it's at Ibrox, which is also good.
Exactly. I can't get to do. I'm wearing my away cardigan tonight.
I noticed that.
Doesn't fit, but anyway. But yeah, that is the lineup just out, literally as we go live. So that's always a plus. So I'm going to get that up for us. Obviously, we've to kick things off. We've been having a bit of a poor state of things in the Europa League this season. 3 losses out of 3 against teams that any other year I'd have liked to think we could have certainly have gotten some points off. I've said it before when the draw came out. I looked at that and went, I would love to get 6, maybe even all 9 of those points. And of course, it's totally not gone that way. There's been chat in the last couple of pods about, what are we looking to get out of Europe now for yourself? Where are you with that? Is it completely dead for you, or do you still hope that we can maybe somehow scrape through, even though we've got quite a few more of our difficult games in this second half of the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm never going to not want Rangers to do well and to progress gets us more money, and that's really what we need at the moment. The blame doesn't lie on the fans for this. Not that it ever really does, but it's not a lack of support from the Rangers fan base as a whole. This is purely down at the people who have chosen to bring in the people they've brought in, and I'm not writing off anyone who's come in yet, but certainly the big money has been spent on 2 or 3 players that either don't play or when they do play aren't very good, and we all know who those people are. It's funny because last season's Europa League, I was not confident at all of progressing, certainly not finishing in the top 8 like we did. So this season, when you looked at the results, I think I was live on the pod on a Friday when the draw was made. I think you maybe been giving us updates, Doug. I was very hopeful we would probably finish in the top 8 again, but they're sitting at the bottom with 3, I think, very winnable games. You don't want to be arrogant to say we can beat, but going on past performances or past 5 years, 6 years, taking the Champions League out of the equation, we have dominated teams at that level and won quite convincingly away from home as well as at Ibrox. And Danny Roll said in his press conference yesterday, some players from Leipzig had texted him to say, the atmosphere was amazing at Ibrox on a European night. I worry that's not going to be the case this evening. I'm sure it will be a full enough house, but the whole kind of enthusiasm for the team at the moment has really been sucked out of the life of the fans. As regards, no, I can't even remember your question, mate.
just how you're hoping we can do.
But yeah, I'm hoping we can still progress. I think it's very unlikely, but if we do scrape through, we need to we need at least 9 points. So we need to win some very tough games starting tonight.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, so you're talking about we don't want to be arrogant. I think we've earned the right to be confident in the Europa League over the last few years. Obviously, been to a final 5 out of the last 6 times we've entered the tournament. We've been round to 16 or later. So, I think we've earned the right to be confident going into these competitions now. And
not arrogant, I guess that's probably a better word.
Yeah. And as I said before, I looked at that draw and I thought the same. I was like, those are 3 games, so we can definitely compete. We can potentially win points in, or win all 3 points in. And sort of, and not necessarily that we've lost the 3 games. That can happen. It's European competition. You just see Bodo Glimt, the other season, not usually a fancy team, but they were really deep in the competition. So teams can have good years and things like that. But the matter and the way that we've lost the matches was particularly disappointing because it just didn't reflect, to me anyway, the Rangers that we've been in the last few years in that competition, and a real downturn, which was really disappointing. So hopefully, at the very least, that's my hope, is that at the very least I want to see us be competitive again in these remaining matches, and hopefully we'll see something from that. In terms of who is going to get us,
let's see this.
let's have a wee look at the lineup, what just come out. So we have Jack Butland in goal as ever, James Tavernier, Suter, and Giga in the back line. So Cornelius has been dropped to the bench. Aarons and Magoma, that'll be presumably at the fullbacks. Then we've got Barron coming back in. I don't think that's a surprise after how well he played recently. Raskin, then we've got Gassama and Moore both in starting berths again. And then Chermiti. So that's Asgard and Danilo, who've been dropped from last game. Subs then Kelly Wright, Cornelius, Fernandez, Diomande, Rice, Asgard, Cameron back in the squad again, Curtis, Miovski, Danilo, and Ant-Man. So a couple of changes there, Billy, and I think most people probably happy and maybe unsurprised to see Gassama and Moore coming in. They both came on to good effect against Celtic, but Giga being kept over Cornelius, that's a surprising one to me, unless there's some kind of knock or something there.
I'm going to quote that meme from the internet. It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it plays off for him, or pays off for him. Sorry. Suter and Giga for me shouldn't be anywhere near this team based on recent performances. Again, what can you do with Suter? We don't know. Fernandez is okay. Don't mean okay. We don't know if he's good enough. We don't know Vencial is good enough, really. He was okay last season, but the Kilmarnock game really shot his confidence. That's not really what I was wanting to see, mate. I'm actually pretty disappointed in that. I did pick Gassama and Moore in the not fantasy team, predicted team, and then Chermiti up front. That's the only thing I can say.
That's a technical term. That's a technical term.
Technical term is that I don't know what he has done other than I'm going to say he's not Miovski, and Miovski's been just as bad, but I would trust Miovski before I would trust him. He clearly wants someone to hold up the ball, and Miovski and Danilo aren't those players, so that's his only option. That's
yeah, I think I'd agree. I think the thinking up there is, he's much bigger and stronger, I think, than Danilo and Miovski. So I think he's probably looking for him to be that kind of target man. Because I'm looking at this, I'm assuming he will be kind of up top by himself, and Moore and Gassama will play off him as the kind of front three in a bit more of a 4-3-3 formation. So
can I say though, for Barron, I don't mean to jump in. I thought Barron started his career with us brilliantly. I don't necessarily get he's got limitations, but I think he has never really let us down in a game that I can remember anyway. So, very happy for him to come back in. If you look at the likes of Diomande, he sometimes turns up. In Europe, you could say he does turn up more than not, but you can't be rewarding a player like that who doesn't turn up for the regular games. Barron turns up and gives 100% every game he plays, mate. So I'm happy with Barron being there, but Aarons is kind of his rehabilitation. He's played a few games now, not done anything particularly wrong. Magoma can look isolated at times, but I think going forward, he's a good option. So there's players in the team I do agree with, but and Suter, again, I don't want him to be there, but it's not really Roll's fault. It's that he doesn't have other options. But Giga, I don't know. He just looks like he has no confidence. He looks very much like the first division player that he is, or he was at least.
Yeah, I thought early doors against Celtic, his touch was really suspect. He looked nervous. He looked nervous,
park and letting that ball come under his foot as well and go through and let one of the players through it. But that was real. That's schoolboy error stuff. Yeah,
I mean, you saw it very early on. I can't remember if it was his literal first touch or just one of them, but like I say, he totally miscontrols the ball, and you saw Tavernier and Raskin both kind of give him the whole calm down, come on, calm down kind of thing. So yeah, I think.
Mate, this isn't an easier game. This isn't a pressure game as well.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think by the looks of it, he's going for defensive solidity, having Aaron's in there. It feels like a bit more of a defensive team. Picking Barron over Diomande. That's what I think. So I think he's trying to make it solid at the back, and then potentially maybe hit them on the break. They will play with. There is potential to get in behind their on their wings because they play three at the back as well. So when their advanced midfielders are up, there is space there, and so with Gassama and Moore's pace and ball carrying, he's maybe looking at something like that. So I think that was the big difference they made against Celtic. That we were able to, in the first half against Celtic, we were just totally pinned back because I think he kind of went a bit defensive in that game as well, and that allowed Celtic to pin us back. And then once we put Gassama and Moore on, we were able to break with the ball a lot more, and we started to make some more chances. So hopefully we see a bit of that. But yeah, Giga and Chermiti, I think, excuse me, will not make a lot of people happy. But then I think most people are okay with Cornelius, but let's say up front, we're not exactly spoiled for riches at the moment in terms of players on form.
What do you make of the comment there, Doug, about Curtis being a number 9? Is that not really his position, do you think?
It's not necessarily his position, but I think he could play there. I think the main problem is, as I say, I think you normally when you're playing one up top, you're looking for that person to be able to hold up the ball and sort of battle with players, and that's not really going to be Curtis's game. I think he's still obviously developing. He's not particularly where he doesn't look particularly strong. I mean, that's not to say he looks weak, but he's certainly not as built as Chermiti is. So I think as a one up top, he would maybe struggle. He would probably be better in one of Gassama or Moore's positions, where he's playing off of them and able to break wide and move a little bit. And obviously he's played out wide when he's appeared with us previously in games. So, but in terms of finishing, 100%. To be honest, if we were able to do it, I'd just stick him on and just be like, just get in the box and be in the box and be available to receive the ball, because given his strikes that he's had, although he's only had the 3, they've all been really good strikes of the ball. And so I think there's a lot of people that would be pretty confident if you were to pick any of our strikers going through 1-on-1 or to get a one-off chance, like for example Chermiti's chance against Celtic. A lot of people would say they'd have most confidence in him putting it away.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I think I would as well.
But Paul's adding in there, Curtis has played right across the front line. Yeah, I think he's done that a lot in his youth games as well. Obviously with us, he's played right and left-hand side. So definitely some options there. Chermiti not proving particularly popular. Aaron's just a wee rabbit in the headlights. I think, to be fair to Aaron, I think he's been fine in his last 2 games. Obviously, he did struggle to begin with, but he didn't really put much of a foot wrong, I don't think, in his recent appearances. Like you said, their Billy's kind of felt a little bit rehabilitated. And to be honest, I think that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, it's we talk about having Magoma as our only left-sided fullback. If you're not playing Aarons, then you're kind of left with Tavernier as the only right-sided fullback. So
I mean, you are like the Tavernier fan club of the pod, but and a lot of people moan about Tav's defensive abilities. I would say Aarons probably shows a bit more chops when it comes to defensive abilities, but he wasn't doing what Tav does, so obviously he gets criticised for that. He wasn't doing the assists, he wasn't chipping in with a goal. So I'm not saying his start was particularly great, but maybe it wasn't as bad as the kind of the fire and thunder have suggested at the time, and maybe he just needed some time to break in and just play his game. He's not Tav. We won't get another Tav, and as much as people complain about him, I think, well, I'm not going to make it a Tav discussion, because Tav does his thing. He's a different player than him, and I think we wanted him just to come in. Oh, well, he's an English come through the ranks type player. He's up and coming. He's worth so much money. He should be better than Tav, but it doesn't work like that. He has a style of play, and we maybe weren't utilising him for the best of his abilities at the beginning of the season. But he's no James Tavernier. I'm not going to say that.
I mean, you say that we weren't utilising them to the best of abilities. I mean, we were playing him out of position to start with.
Yeah, exactly.
As the left back. So I do think obviously he had that to contend with. But if we can, as I say, if we can rehabilitate him and he's able to perform, then as I say, I think that's a plus because it gives us another solid option for that right hand side. Certainly until the potential return of Sterling. Although I'd say we can't necessarily rely on him either, given his injury issues. So it's all the better to have players that, if we can rehabilitate players and get them in there, I think that's just a positive. It gives the manager more options. He can
And
choose.
also with Sterling, Doug, I mean, he's been made out to be this amazing player. He played okay for a little bit, but he wasn't always, he wasn't the answer to all the kind of right back questions, was he?
Well, that's it. There is a little bit of the absence. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I think. He was also a very popular player. He had his infamous mic drop moment after a particular poor performance, which everyone loved. So, everyone's a big fan of him. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. He's played well when he's played, but he's not going to come in and totally change the team. But
he's a solid option.
Exactly, and he's also being very versatile. I think that'll prove to be beneficial as well because he could cover for on the left hand side or the right centre. He can play in midfield, so he's got that little bit of everything, which is beneficial. We've got a question here from Paul. Doug, do you think Cameron will get minutes? I hope so. As I say, I'm a big Cameron fan, so I want to see him hopefully push on. He's not had a huge amount of time thus far under Rule. Just he played about 10 minutes. The tail end of the Kelly game. That's all he's really had, but he did pick up that knock for at least a game and a bit. So hopefully he'll get his chances. Rule did say he was asked about it in his presser, and he kind of suggested, he picks the squad for each game. It's not a case of he'll pick someone and then they won't feature for the next 4 weeks. He will look at each game and what players offer. So, hopefully he'll get the chance to come in and show what he can do. He needs to push on a bit. He kind of like Byron. I thought he came in and started well and plateaued a little bit, but I think a lot of players did that again under Russell Martin. So yeah, as I say, hopefully he can push on. I do think he offers something. And if you think about we're going to be probably losing Raskin in the next 6 to 12 months when his contract runs down, or if we sell him in January. There might come a point where Dio will have to make a decision. Depending, I can't remember quite off the top of my head when his contract ends, but it can't be that long until we need to make a decision what to do with him. So, Cameron will be a player that I think that if he can make a solid showing of himself, he can nail down one of those spots potentially for the next couple of years.
The deal's to run to 2028 for Diamande.
2028. So yeah, so next summer will be that 2-year point where you're kind of thinking, are you going to extend or are you going to sell? So, there's that potential. And I mean, I would quite like it if, for example, you could have Barron and Cameron in there, and that's a nice Scottish central midfield. I'm sure people would like that. Obviously, the most important thing is that they're up for the role rather than necessarily being Scottish. But as I say, that would be a popular thing. Yourself, any thoughts on Cameron, Billy?
I just would like to see more of him. I've liked what I've seen. Did he not play quite well in the Pilsen game, for instance, in Europe? So we're just not seen enough. He was obviously a good player for Dundee, and I don't. It's like I know it's a bit of an injury, but I don't understand why he's been kind of frozen out under this manager and the previous manager. If there's something going on there, they're not liking in training. But there's, from my point of view, I just give him some minutes. He could certainly start at the weekend, and there's no harm in that. And he probably would make an improvement of what we've seen in recent terms. So, just would like to see more before we make our mind up too quickly on players, Doug. We write ones off and we make ones out to be fantastic when we've really no body of evidence of that. And Cameron is one that I've only liked what I've seen so far, but we need to see a bit more.
Absolutely. I mean, you're bang on there. I think, and there's a couple of players in that lineup I think that really prove that. Butland came in. We were immediately, he's the greatest goalie, so he's really good. And then he had his down patch, and everyone was like, he's terrible, let's get him sold. And then he's come in this season, he's been our best player by a good distance. Raskin came in, had a very slow start, then came into the team after his injury. And floated about for a little bit, and then, as I say, grew into again being one of our best players. So there will be players that just need that bit of time to settle and grow into their roles and gain confidence. So, as I say, I would really like for him to be one, because I do think he's got a lot of ability, and he could offer a lot to us if he's able to. So that would be a plus. Okay, doke. Let's see if there's any questions here. No, that's fine. The other big thing we're going to do this evening is announce the winner of our competition that we've had going on. If you follow us on our social media, you will have seen we've been running a competition for a new Rangers 4th kit, the orange top that came out recently. All you had to do to enter that was sort of follow us on our socials and subscribe to the YouTube channel that we photographed to prove that you'd done so. We're going to announce it on Monday, but then after all the fallout from Sunday, there was plenty to talk about, so we can sort of bump the announcement to now. So apologies for that, but happy to have been given a name to announce, and that name is, drum roll, Chris Rusk. So congratulations, Chris. You are the winner of the Rangers 4th kit. So if you see this, maybe you won't. I don't know if you're watching now, or if not, you may hear from us before. So you might get a nice surprise in your DMs once one of the team contacts you to obviously get your details and get that out to you. So congratulations to Chris on winning that. And,
I hope he does contact us, because we've got the discount code for Castore, which is only valid until this evening. So if get it a bit cheaper if he gets in touch.
So we need to make that happen quickly then. So congratulations to Chris on that one, winning that competition. So Billy, any predictions for the night's game?
I just hope we get some points on the board before the end of the night. Not that 1 point will do as much good, but can you really see us in this state? Even though Rowe has made some improvements, can you really see us beating Roma? I hope so. I'll go for a very cagey 1-0 win to us. How about that?
I would take that all day and all night. Sure, they're saying surprised St. Allen never got a look in. Surely he improves our defence. Possibly. See, he did show a little bit last season, but we're not sure. He was in they released some pictures from training. He did feature in those again, so he's obviously still in and about the group. But again, another one that seems to be on the fringes, unfortunately. My prediction, I think I said on the lowdown 2-1. I do think Roma are obviously a really good team, so I think they have the potential to score. But yeah, I'm going to try and be positive. Russell Martin really punched my positivity down, doing the predictions on the lowdown just every single week. I'm going to be positive. This will be the win. Draw. I'm going to be positive. This week will be the win. Draw. But yeah, back to being positive again. So I'm going to say 2-1. There we go. Tav 1-0 penalty. Take that all day. Nicky's saying 3-1 to Roma. Well, I hope if it's going to be that kind of game, I hope that they're all fantastic goals, that we can at least go, oh, well, they were fantastic goals, and not some of the disappointing goals that we've seen in the previous games. But hey-ho. Okay, I think we've anything else you want to touch on before we finish off, Billy?
No, I needed to be away a few minutes ago, so 10 minutes ago. So yeah, I'll need to dash, mate. Thank you.
Cool. No bother. Speak to you in a bit. And just remains for me to say thank you for everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the game. Some of the guys will obviously be back for the post-match afterwards, so hopefully we've got something positive to talk about. So speak to you guys later, and just remember, every night it's a Rangers Journal night. Bye.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.